What is the hardest task you've ever set out to accomplish? Maybe it's waking up every day at 5 a.m., quitting an addiction, or leaving your job to chase your dreams. When you set out to complete any big project, two enemies are bound to come knocking on your door: perfection and procrastination. For over 3 years, I have told myself I'm going to write a book.
What would be your advice if, I want to write a book in 20 years or whatever? What has been helpful for you?
I don't know if you have to wait 20 years. I mean, I think first, figure out, is there a book here?
Last year, I technically wrote a book, but it was so terrible I only made 2 copies. But this time is different. I think this one can actually bless some people.
I feel emotional about that paragraph. I need that book. My friends need this book. I will teach a class on that book. Trey, write this freaking book. This is so needed.
So, to slap procrastination and perfection in the face, I've given myself 5 days to finish, and I have 7 chapters to go.
Imposter syndrome has gotten me. My YouTube journey, I never have been afraid to publish anything. Even in my preaching, I don't even hesitate. I just preach. Writing, I just feel so unqualified. So when I came up with the idea to come up here, I did not realize how freaked out I'd be at night. I'm alone with my dog, and the sounds are terrifying. Oh, looks like I slept in a little bit. Usually wake up at 5, woke up at 7:30. It's just so nice to sleep out here. I'm just honestly worried that I don't have enough content in my brain to put out on the paper. So I've written about 2 chapters so far in an hour and a half. I'm in the zone up here, yo. This might actually happen. I might actually finish my book. I think the 2 things that have kept me from finishing this book is I'm editing while writing. I just need to write and then edit later, and I have an editor for that. But the second thing is the tone. Using your tone is how love can be shown.
Or not.
And I think very often my tone has been, I know how to do everything, so listen to me. And so I think I finally found a way to write that's both assertive so you'll listen, authoritative so that you'll actually, believe me, but also authentic to where you can trust me. Oh, that's good. Authoritative so they will believe, but authentic so they will trust. Oh, crap. I was supposed to grill a steak, but I left it out last night too long. Shoot! Yeah, the steak was probably fine. It was in a warm part of my truck. I just feel like I deserve a reward. I'm gonna go to the best barbecue within 100 miles. I know that's true. How you doing, Nala? Doing good, Nala? Having fun? Yeah, we're living our best life. The thing about writing is it really makes you fully develop your thoughts. You can say stuff and then it's just you said it, but writing makes you think, is this actually true? And then also really makes you develop that thought to be able to prove if what you're saying is right or not. That's the part. Oops. That's the part that I'm whoa, it's difficult. Because I have a lot of things that sound good initially, but can I back it up? Look what I found. Looks like it's about to snow, so I'm gonna stay in for the night. I'm gonna try to squeeze out one more chapter.
I will say the good news is I'm not nearly as scared tonight as I was last night, but still locking that door. I don't know what I'm gonna do to get my willpower going. When a person gives a poor man shoes, does he do it for the poor man or for God? He should do it for God, she decided. The poor will often be ungrateful, and you will lose heart if you rely on immediate emotional rewards for your work. But if you do it for God, you will never grow discouraged. I keep processing that. Why am I writing this book? I really think it's because God's called me to. Just by doing it, I'm being obedient. It's not a success or not based off of people's response. It's just because I'm doing what the Lord's called me to do. I just finished another chapter, so that's... In fact, I need to write it down right now. In fact, I probably don't want you to see this anyway. These three are so insanely practical, I think they'd be easy. I haven't written them at all yet. These two, I need to walk, but it's snowing outside. But I'm feeling the pressure. I'm feeling it's getting down to the wire. I want to go home. I miss my family. But I kind of told myself I wouldn't leave until I was done. You know how we had an incredible conversation today?
We had an incredible conversation today?
Yeah, on FaceTime.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We need to recap because my microphone didn't work.
Oh, my word.
So I called you and said, hey. What'd you say after that?
That you were, I don't know, that you got a lot done and you hit a wall.
And then I was deliberating with you about should I come home.
Right.
Why?
You said you hit a wall and that you had written them and that it was gonna snow and you didn't want to get snowed in.
That's what it was, snowed in. That's what we're sticking with. Dad just sent me a photo. It is very snowy now. I mean,
Okay.
the deck, Faith saw.
Dad would literally, even where it's covered, snow everywhere. Even where it's covered, literally.
Yeah.
You're like, how did it get right there?
So I would have been stuck, huh?
Yeah.
Was it good that I left when I did?
Yes.
Even though my book's not done? Okay, thank you. That's what I was looking for.
You're welcome.
So, does this make me a failure? Not yet. I just know if I push through today, I don't think I'd like the quality of what would happen. But I do know driving generates ideas, and I think I'm at the stage in writing right now. For the last half of my book is ideation. I need to come up with these bullet points better. So that's where I'm at. This snow is beautiful, though, especially as an Arizonan. This snow freaks me out. I don't know how to drive in snow. So there you go, Dad. I took the trash out. Goodbye, beautiful cabin. Hope to see you again soon. Ah, shoot. I left the curtains open. Had to open everything back up, but I did the right thing. All right, let's go home. Honestly, as I'm driving away, the more I think about it, I think I gave myself too much permission last night. I wound up watching the Suns game, which led to me checking social media after. I loved to see the commentary on how the game went, which led to everything else, right? So, like, your first hour of your day and your last hour is so important, especially when creating, just to leave it empty, leave it like in silence. I didn't do that. And so I think that's what kind of threw off my mojo a little bit this morning. That, and I don't think I had a prepared enough outline. So it's a little bit of both, but I woke up this morning with no willpower, and I think it has to be because I didn't do what I was supposed to do up here, which is completely plug away, plug off, what's the phrase? What's the phrase? To plug off, plug away, to pull the plug? No, that's morbid. Is that a thing? Okay. You know, it's really easy to critique. It's really easy to be on the sidelines. That's actually in chapter 5. I would go beyond that and say it takes courage to publish. Edward Friedman, he's one of my favorite authors. He says, what freed Europe from its imaginative gridlock of 1,000 years is in large part, hear me, about the relationship between risk and reality. He goes on to say, the spirit of adventure finally triumphed over the concern for safety and certainty. Friends, we desperately need in this time courage, but not just any courage. a courage that exalts Christ, a courage that embodies the goodness and the way of Jesus, a courage that still keeps the fruit of the Spirit along the way.
This process, part of it I think has been really helpful and necessary for me to take my time, but the other part of it, I'm like, okay, I'm wasting time at this point.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that is terrifying. And so is this. Here's what I'm learning the hard way. You really have two options when you're making or creating anything. It's a bad Sharpie, Jordan. One of these has to work. This actually kind of proves my point. So option one, there we go, is this. Option two is this. You make something quickly and it's bad, but you just keep writing, you have the courage, you just go for it. And then you stop writing, it's done. Now you start to edit it, or you have somebody edit for you, or it's a group collab, and you get it done. This doesn't take as much time. If you are set on perfect right away, it's gonna take a long time to get there. So all this time right here, I've saved. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just creating stuff that I'm actually giving myself the permission. This is bad. It's not perfect. It's probably not gonna be the finished product, but I have to get out there. I gotta get it out. This is gonna fall again, but that's the idea.
It ain't pretty, but it's done. And that's the point, right?
So today's the day. Like, I have to send this to my editor. I stopped halfway through my last chapter because I had to rewatch a Zoom call with my Patreon community because they were so encouraging. I needed to remember why I was doing this and kind of the feedback, which you saw some of the feedback in the beginning of this video. Here's my paragraph that I promised you'd see.
Pastors suffer a variety of anxiety by trying to make sense of this pestilence while pastoring a political pickle. As a result, the pastors who stick it out are tempted to chase greatness by becoming motivational speakers who carry the world's weight on their shoulders. We're learning this only leads to more pain, more anxiety, and more sin. Instead, this pivotal moment calls for pastors to choose goodness by becoming maturational leaders who care for the world by creating apprentices of Jesus who are intentionally engaged in spiritual formation for the sake of the world.
Trey, write this freaking book. This is so needed.
You gotta be kidding me. I'm done. I finished. I'm gonna go send it right now. See, the very last thing I did, sorry for the pumped up, I didn't think I'd get it done today. I had to make sure every chapter had like these following insights. The following insights are, it has to have a captivating intro. At least one peak insight or surprise, and an ending that satisfyingly justifies why it was worth reading in the first place. I did it, guys! This is so important because the last 2 years, and really the last 6 months, I just feel like I've had so many obstacles and so many almost, and then it gets pulled out from under the rug, and some of that's good, some of that's just been hard. It just feels so stinking good to like finish something and say it's done.
Good.
I finished my book.
Oh.
I finished writing it.
You gotta go bike riding.
What do you think, Sayla? Is that cool? I wrote a whole book.